We will cut a whole boneless chuck roll. We need to make sure we have a clean cutting block and a sharp knife to cut with before we start. Opening the bag, we will notice beef fluid, which is very normal for any whole boneless chuck roll. First, we will want to take the first facing off the tight end of the chuck roll. Begin cutting 1-inch chuck eye steaks from the tight side. Notice we do not cut all the way down the chuck roll because the bottom of the chuck roll is excess fat that will be used later for stew meat. Simply peel the chuck steaks off using your knife as shown. Be aware that only your first 3 to 4 cuts will be chuck-eyed steak. After that, the cuts will be considered chuck steaks. The chuck-eye steak is the most tender part of the chuck roll and can be compared to the rib-eyed steak. Moving down the chuck roll, we will begin cutting 2-inch chuck roasts. Chuck roasts are one of the best roasts to use in a crock pot because it has enough fat for the meat to fall apart when cooking. Flip the chuck roll over and begin trimming all of the excess fat on the back side. The last fattier meat can be saved for stew meat later. Now that we have reached the center of the chuck roll, we can begin cutting 3/4 to 1-inch chuck steaks. These steaks are different from the chuck eye steaks that we cut earlier. Chuck steaks from the center of the chuck roll are best because of the even marbling from the fat. Once we reach the end of the chuck roll, we will take our facing off the backside for stew meat later. And we'll get one last chuck roast from the end. Finally, using the end facing from earlier, we will make stew meat. Start by leaving any extra fat you will want for flavor. First, cut larger strips lengthwise, then cut the strips into your preferred size cubes. Chuck roll stew meat is great for crock pots because of the amount of flavor that comes with the fat. And that is how you cut a whole boneless chuck roll. Visit with your local Super Saver meat cutter if you have any questions.